Hey, what's going on, testifiers all over the world? This is your boy Testify to the Music, bringing you another top 5 list. And today, my top 5 list is all about, you guessed it, Dragon Ball. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 5 reasons why I love Dragon Ball. And just for you guys who don't know, I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. I just love Dragon Ball in general, both the manga and the anime. I like the Japanese version. I do like GT. I like Dragon Ball Super. I pretty much like all things Dragon Ball. And even still have a good bit of collectibles that I still have. I grew up with Dragon Ball, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. So again, today we're going to be focusing on Dragon Ball. And again, we're talking about why I love Dragon Ball. The top 5 reasons. Stick around to get to my list. Alright, so starting with number 5 on my list, we have unique storytelling. What I really love about Dragon Ball at its core is just the storytelling going behind it. It's all created by one man named Akira Toriyama and his vision. If you guys don't know, Dragon Ball was based off of Journey to the West, and then he borrows heavily from Dr. Slump. That's also a manga. Make sure you guys go check that out by Akira Toriyama. But you can just tell Toriyama, he has this very unique way of driving a story and talking about different narratives. And you can just see all throughout Dragon Ball Z, and all throughout that, you can just see how his writing style, he brings some unique stories to the storyline. And yes, they are heavily influenced by things in pop culture today. But still, it's some unique storytelling. Like, we have this Saiyan who was brought to Earth originally to kill people, but bumped his head, and now instead of him remembering that he was supposed to kill all humanity on planet Earth, he spends his time fighting and learning martial arts and protecting it. And see, that's kind of a unique story. So I got to say, I love Toriyama's storytelling, and one of these days I plan to drop a video about that, just going more in depth about Akira Toriyama and his storytelling. Number 5, the many concepts. Now, Geekdom 101, he recently did a video series, a 4-part video series, I should say, where he broke down the 4 main Dragon Ball Z sagas. He broke down the Saiyan saga, or as the Japanese would say, the Saiyan saga, the Frieza saga, the Artificial Human saga, and of course the Buu saga. And he talked about the different concepts behind each of those 4. And what I really like is, again, the concepts here. There are some very unique concepts here. You have Frieza, who's like essentially a modern-day dictator, the way he treats people. He's like a modern-day Hitler. He commits genocide by essentially exterminating the entire Saiyan race, wiping them completely out of existence, essentially like how Hitler was trying to do with the Jewish community. So you have that, and then, of course, you have like something like Mr. Satan. He's one of the funniest guys in the series. You have all the people on planet Earth worshiping Mr. Satan in the realm of Dragon Ball. They worship this guy named Mr. Satan, and essentially Mr. Satan lies a lot. He likes to tell lies and have people believe these things, and he likes to be worshipped, and he just has these false precepts. A great example would be like how he took credit for defeating Cell when we all really know that it was Gohan who defeated Cell, but he essentially took all the fame and the glory for that, essentially lying. And it's kind of like how Satan is in our generation. Satan likes to tell us all these kinds of lies and likes to essentially have us worship him, and a lot of people will buy into the lies that he has because it looks, so sweet and tempting and whatnot. So you have all these different mini concepts that go into it, and there's a buttload that I could have talked about, but for time's sake, I just wanted to just focus on those 2. But those are some really unique concepts, and there are a lot more, and I recommend you go check out Geekdom 101's video. I'll make sure I leave a link in the description below so you guys can go check that out. So getting to number 3, my number 3 reason for why I love Dragon Ball, the culture behind Dragon Ball. What I mean by the culture is, I essentially learned a lot about the Japanese culture that I didn't know. Their rich culture, their customs, and, their take on their cartoons and animes, and how they essentially differ from our own cartoons. I know growing up, You know, I grew up with like Looney Tunes and other certain things, and then when I was introduced to Dragon Ball, it was a complete 180. You know, from Powerpuff Girls and Looney Tune and Dexter's Laboratory and all these weird cartoons. You know, I grew up with like the Proud Family and Kim Possible, all these old things. You know, they were so different from when Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were airing on TV on Toonami. It was just so different. And, you know, as I grew more and more to love Dragon Ball, eventually I went back and rewatched the entire series. I still had to watch Dragon Ball, of course, in Japanese. But I went back and watched the entire series in Japanese. And then I went to Kanzenshuu and started studying more and more. And I started learning more about the customs that they have and the name puns and what they all mean. And just got a real feel for the Japanese culture and how, you know, essentially it's different but kind of similar to what we have over here in the States as well. So that's one of the things that I definitely love about Dragon Ball is, you know, you get a unique perspective about the culture that they're from. Getting to my number 2 would have to be the epic fights. Now again, for time's sake, I could go into all of my favorite fights, but I'm just going to pick 2 here. Of course, Gohan versus Cell is always going to be up there at the top of my list. I love Gohan versus Cell. And I also like Goku versus Frieza, and I like Goku versus Vegeta. But to be a little unbiased here, I won't keep throwing in Goku because I know a lot of people are like, well, everybody always talks about Goku versus Frieza and Gohan versus Cell. I give you a fight that I thoroughly enjoyed. I enjoyed all the forms of Boo versus Gotenks. I am a super huge fan of Gotenks, and I love Gotenks with a passion. And I love all the fights that he had with the many forms of Boo. And then I just love his childish nature, and then, you know, how he had opportunities to defeat Boo, but instead chose to play around and just mock and tease Boo. And I just kind of like that, I guess, because growing up, that's how I kind of was. Whenever I would like pick a fight with somebody, you know, I would mock and tease them and everything, kind of like Gotenks was, and I was very childish. So I think that's kind of the reason that I grew up liking Gotenks so much, is because he essentially reminds me of my younger days when I was real little, about their age. So I love that fight. I also love Gohan versus Super Boo. That was an amazing fight. I love the Vegeta versus Pui Pui, even though it was short and straight to the point. I love how he just showed how Vegeta had grown over the 7-year gap, where he trained and trained and trained, and we just saw the results of his training, how he just effortlessly, without even breaking a sweat, just came in and just destroyed Pui Pui. And I thought that was just really amazing. You know, some Dragon Ball fights. I love Tao Pai Pai. I love his fight with Goku. That was a real great fight. Namu's fight, of course, with Goku was very interesting. I like Yamcha's fight. Yamcha's fight with Tien Shinhan. That was a real interesting fight, because when I first saw that fight growing up, you know, I didn't kind of understand. I was like, why is Tien so mean? And this is because I watched Z before Dragon Ball, and I was like, wait a minute, Tien is supposed to be a good guy. What's going on? Why is he breaking Yamcha's leg in half and being such a douchebag to everybody? I was like, oh, okay, this is Dragon Ball. Okay, I got you. I understand. So, you know, I love all of the epic fights, and there are fights throughout Dragon Ball, Z, GT, Super, the different movies that are associated with Dragon Ball, the different OVAs and the different specials. Whether some of them be canon or not, there was still some great fights in there. And so getting to my final and number 1 reason why I love Dragon Ball so much, of course, the characters. And again, for time's sake, I'm just going to name a few of the characters that I really like. I'll go ahead and get the stereotypical ones out the way. I love Goku and Vegeta. Go ahead and get those out of the way, because I know a lot of people are like, well, those are stereotypical answers. Yes, that's true. I love Gotenks and I love Piccolo. And I also like Krillin and Gohan. Those would have to be my top ones that I like out of the main roster, especially Krillin. I love how Krillin is often underrated, and, you know, they see Krillin as his weak guy, but if you go back and watch Dragon Ball, you can just see how much Krillin has progressed, and how at one point he was even stronger than Goku at one point. But a lot of people, you know, they jump straight into Z and they don't see moments like that. But I love Krillin, and again, I mentioned earlier how much I love Gotenks and his wacky antics. And when I got to see him in Super a few weeks ago, it was so absolutely amazing. I've been waiting for Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks to appear. But I won't talk too much about that because I don't want to spoil the episode for you guys. But I love Gotenks and Piccolo. Piccolo is another underrated fighter. People love to bash Piccolo and love to talk about how he's such a useless character. And GT did make him seem that way, of more of a useless character. But if you think about it, Piccolo is very, very useful. I love his combat style, how he's always referred to as a strategic fighter, how he's able to come up with these different strategies to win and everything. How he might not necessarily be a powerhouse like the Saiyans, but his mind is his greatest thing. That's one of the reasons Super Buu wanted to absorb him so bad, because he wanted Piccolo's mind. And so I love Piccolo. I love his mind. I love his different techniques. I love Hell's Own Grenade. I love Light Grenade. All of those moves are real great. I love the Special Beam Cannon. I'm not going to attempt to say the Japanese name because I can never get it right for some reason. I can say the names properly, but I can't say most of the moves correctly. But you know how it goes. And then, of course, you know, I love Gohan, of course. My favorite Gohan would have to probably be Ultimate Gohan, but Teen Gohan is right up there with him. My least favorite Gohan would probably be the early Gohan, only because, you know, he was more whiny, you know, at one point. But again, he was young, so of course he would be whiny. But I love Teen Gohan, I love Ultimate Gohan, and I even like Resurrection F Gohan. I know a lot of people crap on him too because of the tracksuit and everything, but I like him too. I think he, you know, does what he does best. You know, he's Gohan, he loves his family, and he ultimately wants to protect them no matter what. So I love him. And of course, you know, Goku and Vegeta. I could sit here for hours and talk about how I'm in love with Goku and Vegeta, how in love I am with Goku and Vegeta. Literally hours, because anybody who could tell you, growing up, I always wanted Goku and Vegeta. Those were the main action figures I always wanted. I wanted the other guys that I mentioned as well, but I mainly wanted those two. I loved Goku and Vegeta, and I love how they're back in prominence again, especially Vegeta. I know for the longest time they put the main focus on Goku, but I like how they're giving Vegeta the spotlight here, and they're giving him some time to shine, as well as the other characters as well. But guys, wrapping this list up, that is my top 5 list of why I love Dragon Ball. Please let me know in the comment section below why you love Dragon Ball. What makes it so special to you? I'm curious to know. Make sure you drop those comments down below, because I really want to get to communicate with you guys in the Dragon Ball community. And I'm really curious to know what you guys have to say. Also, if you like the video, you like my list, and you agree with some things I said, please feel free to smash the like button. If you felt like I was a bad representation of Dragon Ball, you didn't like my list, you didn't agree with it, then you can thumb it down too. Either way, it helps out the channel immensely, and I would appreciate some interaction from you guys. That would be so awesome. Also, you know, subscribe to the channel. I'm only 2 subscribers away from 500, and I have something very special planned if I can make it to 500 by the end of the week. So please subscribe. It really helps out the channel, definitely. And why wouldn't you want to subscribe? I have some very funny videos if you guys haven't known. Have you guys seen my online dating video? My gosh, that thing is funny. And it's very ironic too. It just shows you how far I was willing to go for a little bit of companionship when it came to online dating. But hey, who's to blame here? But with that being said, thank you so much for checking out this video. I'm Testify to the Music, aka Mikey Savage 21, saying peace out.